Yay Networks.
Welcome to a brand new episode of the Fitish podcast. We've been arguing. No, this is light arguing. Not arguing. I guess I should say I love when you've been with someone for a while. Not that we've been together forever, but 5 years almost, right? Wonderful. Thanks. Let's huff away. That I learned
It has gone so fast.
I learned something new about you that I didn't know. And I'm kind of like,
Well, I'm keeping you on your toes.
what? And it's not something that I love either, but I just learned this. Francisco and I, we were sitting here before we started recording, just kind of talking about, I guess I should have known this already, but talking about concerts, and there's some movies coming out, just going to things, events in general, right? So I was saying that I used to love going to concerts all the time, and I love music and I love film. And so, I don't even think I talk about it as much as I love it. Or I just assume that a lot of people love music and movies, and I'm just kind of in the mix. But I really love it. And I sent Fran something yesterday. I saw one of the Candlelight concerts. I don't know if y'all are familiar with those. It's put on by Fever or something, but you probably get ads for them. They come to major cities. It's a different groups of violin and strings players, and they'll play different themes of things, right? So over the holidays, they'll do scary music or Christmas. And I got a notification yesterday that the one at the Flight Museum here in Dallas was doing Radiohead. And that's something that I also don't know if you know about me. Radiohead's probably my my end all be all when it comes to a show for the most part that I want to see. I've seen them twice. I have flown to see them because I love them so much. They have not toured together since the last time I saw them. But then I'm I'm a mom. You don't want to spend the money. It's not Radiohead. It's people playing Radiohead, So pass. Friends do you really want to go? And I was like, no, not really.
And it was yesterday.
And it was yesterday. Night. I know. The day after 4th of July. I get it. No. And so that's what this conversation was about. It's these days, even if it's a band that you used to like, right? But you only liked maybe 2 or 3 songs, tickets are expensive. Getting a babysitter, getting out of the house, it's a whole it's hot. I'm older. I'm not ready to wait. I did at Lollapalooza. I was in college. And Red Hot Chili Peppers had this DVD that came out. It's live at Slane Castle in Ireland. It is such a phenomenal concert concert, video to watch, by the way.
For all of you that don't know what a DVD is.
Our audience is our age. Get out of here. No, we used to put it on late night in college when we were drinking or stoned, and we would just watch it over and over and over again. We loved Red Hot. And so anyway, Lollapalooza, waited 7 hours. I saw Queens of the Stone Age, because you have to wait if you want a good spot. You see the band that plays the set before them. Then they come on. I hadn't peed. My guy friends are peeing in cups. People are tossing each other, crowd surfing. It was wild, as you would expect a Red Hot Chili Peppers concert closing out a Sunday night at Lollapalooza to be. One of the best experiences of my life. I still remember it. Would I do it today? Never. Absolutely not. Hot, needing to pee, not having a refreshment, crowds, people touching me. No. Isn't that just funny, though, about how you get older? You just don't want to do that?
It is so crazy for me picturing you doing something like that, because you're the opposite spectrum now.
But this is what we were just saying, that I need to get to my point. Sorry, I'm long-winded. That Fran turns to me and goes, meh, I don't really like concerts. Excuse me? What? Going to concerts and going to movies, a true movie-going experience, these are some of my favorite pastimes, okay? And I love a concert. I get what you're saying. He goes, I don't like crowds. That's what you said to me. And isn't this funny that I could not be more of a homebody, right? You would classify me as a homebody.
What happened with that other Jenna?
She's here. Buy her a ticket. Take her to a fucking Radiohead concert.
Well, do you want me to put the band together tour?
Yes. They'll come back. Don't worry. They'll come back. They're doing another project right now. They'll come back. You don't even know how much you love Radiohead too, and this is what drives me crazy. The soundtrack to Peaky Blinders is predominantly Radiohead and Tom York. Well, I love Radiohead so much, but I get it, and I understand. It doesn't have to be your favorite band. Radiohead's one of those things people either get it or they just don't, and that's totally fair. But anyway, I love a concert. I would love nothing more. I've been telling you how much I would love to go see like a Max Richter or Hans Zimmer, like a television mute or movie composer. Like Hans Zimmer does like all the Christopher Nolan, which Oppenheimer is coming out in 2 weeks. And so, yes, like go somewhere, a cool venue, watching the symphony, watching the composer do it. You would love that. But I get it. I don't like crowds. So no, she's still in here. She is still in here.
The things that I like that concert.
To go to a fucking bar and talk to people that I don't care. They don't care about me. I don't care about them. When going and watching talented people perform, that is so different than going to a random bar, making small talk with people that I just honestly don't really care about talking to. But sitting quietly and stoned and the perfect level of stoned and drunk, that is like church for me. Like I flew to Chicago to see Radiohead. Like you have the perfect setup and you're just like watching someone uber talented, songs that you love, that pull on your heartstrings, that you feel like you're just watching like a little movie of your life flash before you.
Well,
and then you're like, wow.
I have to say this. I don't love concerts, the idea, people, blah, blah, blah. But
Sporting
it's like
events,
going to the gym, you know? Once I'm there, I enjoy it. Once I'm there, doesn't matter who's playing, I feel it.
And you don't have to talk. Maybe that's the kind of introvert side of me. You don't have to talk. You're there. You're in a shared experience with thousands of other people, and you don't have to make small talk. You're there for something greater. You're there to experience something. It's the experience part of it for me. Like I don't consider just like going out to the bar socializing. That is such a drain on me. Going to a concert or a movie isn't, you know, like you're just experiencing someone's art that's really meaningful. So maybe I'm just putting a lot of more credit into it and making an excuse for why I love that and not that. But that's the reality. I mean, I love a concert, but the point remains, I don't love them as much as I used to with everything that goes on in the world too. It's kind of scary now that we don't feel like we can't go places. And I think you got to kind of choose those experiences, and they're so expensive, aren't they? I mean, you think about it, you're like, wait, I don't want to go out. It's hot, sit in the lawn or wait, or, you know, you deal with all the crowds and you're pretty uncomfortable just to hear, you know, if you only like 3 songs out of the, 50 or 40, they're going to play.
And normally the best song is at the end.
Usually. That's why you have to do it for a band that you either know is going to be a really good show or you love.
Or just be there late.
Or you love like all their songs, you know. That's kind of what I save it for now. And those are few and far between. Let's be real. Like there's not that many bands that I want to like get out on a weeknight at 10 or 11 o'clock at night for.
Yeah.
I couldn't find anyone. Yeah, I know. But Fran and I were talking, now we reserve our energy for the neighborhood 4th of July carnival.
Our energy.
Huh?
We're like in overdrive.
Yeah. He has so much energy now, y'all. Remy is, 16 months old, nonstop. I was pretty set up this weekend. I hope y'all all had a nice holiday. Kind of a weird time, isn't it? Like a weird week when it falls on a Tuesday. I feel like everyone's kind of tired or maybe taking some of the week off. And
Babe, we were the only tired. Normal people, like our audience.
The only tired? What are you talking about?
Started partying on Thursday. They partied on Friday. They partied on Saturday. They took a little rest on Sunday. Then they partied Sunday night. They broke again on Monday. And then they partied
this is where
on
the TikTok
Tuesday.
audio, which you haven't seen, it's like, who are you talking to?
Our audience.
They are not. Y'all
Unless you have kids.
I know that most of you did not party multiple nights in a row. Who are you talking to? No one our age can do multiple nights in a row anymore. Did someone party too hard one night? Probably. There's no way, especially considering I think most of our audience is parents. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. Y'all can write me and let me know. It's been done before. I've been wrong before.
Yeah, it doesn't happen often, right?
But I liked what we ended up doing. I think I put a lot of pressure, as a holiday approaches. You're like, should we go out of town? Should we do a staycation? Should we get a hotel room somewhere? Oh, should we make it special? He's not going to remember. You go back and forth on it. Ultimately, what we decided to do is buy a used grill on Facebook Marketplace and do a nice celebration.
Because grilling was I think what happened
was the number one thing I wanted to
was we romanticize these little things.
Yes, exactly.
We romanticize the 4th of July parade, and we think that it's going to be phenomenal. And we get there, it's fucking hot.
Hold on. We're not even there yet. Like, because there's a whole thing that went into this.
Yeah,
So
okay.
we just decided to stay home and just do, like set kind of a set menu, introduce Remy to some of the good old American 4th of July classics, like baked beans out of a can and some burgers and hot dogs and corn on the cob. And I loved it. He loved it. So we did that on the day before the 4th. And then we found out the new neighborhood we moved to had like a little carnival going on. So close, walkable close if you didn't have a baby and it wasn't 110 degrees. So we decided to go down there and I was excited because I'm like, okay, I had a cute like white dress on. It's actually kind of ugly, but it's breezy. It ventilates. And I was excited. So I have that on. You went and worked out that morning. You come home, you throw clothes on Remy. I had Remy ready, y'all. I had him kind of dressed cute. We're ready. I was like, we'll see the fire truck and we'll scope out this carnival. We don't even know what's going on. And then we'll come home for nap time. I was like, perfect. I had the day set, We go out to the car. I look down at myself. Sometime between the car, walking out of the house and getting to the car,
You wore your shake.
I was wearing the protein shake I was drinking all over my dress. I looked down. I was like, fuck. I know a little thing, but like I was annoyed, because like I had been ready. Like I felt so, as a mom when you're always behind and you're never.
The thing is that she saw the pictures on her head. Like she saw the picture of the parade, her white dress, Remy with her checkered shorts.
I got him these cute little checkered girl shorts from Target. They were in the girls section, but I don't care. They were so cute. So anyway, no, I just like, it's not just the picture. It's more like the pride you feel when you're ready before you even got home. You know how hard it is to you don't. I got ready while watching him and getting him ready. I've given him the brush as I'm doing my hair. Like I am figuring this shit out. I felt confident. I felt excited about it. We get in the car, we pull up, we find a spot like illegally parked, but we knew the cops right there weren't going to give us a ticket. So we like parked somewhat, where no one else has dared to park. But we were like, we're in. We're going to be here for like 30 minutes. He's going to get hot. We're in. We get out of the car. Remy doesn't have shoes. At some point, Remy had shoes. Remy has kicked them off between the house, driving, parking. Oh my gosh. And Fran's like, it's fine, I'll carry him. And I'm like, he doesn't want to be carried. He wants to walk around. It's his like only joy in life right now is just to walk around. So Fran leaves me with him. Remy is not interested in the parade. You made pretty good time. You get back with the shoes. I mean, truthfully, we were kind of ready to go at that point. So we weren't even spending any time together. They had a little petting zoo. They had some like inflatable slides and stuff. They were setting up for the carnival. And of course, our child, all he wants to do is walk around and pick up wood chips.
I just want to...
wood chips from the mulch playground.
Open a parenthesis. Am I, and I want to ask our audience, am I okay to every time that we go to a setting where there are animals, be worried about ticks based on the humongous tick pandemic that we're dealing with, or it's just another of
You're
of my
just
worry?
now introducing another thing. So now you're worried about ticks?
Oh, I just want to close my parenthesis. But yes, I am. Like, I've certainly every time that we're around animals, I'm thinking,
every time we're doing anything, every time we're around animals, every time he has anything, he has a popsicle stick in his hand. It's like
100%.
He has a toy
popsicle
dinosaur.
stick, 100%.
He has a toy dinosaur in his hand.
Not toy dinosaur.
I'm letting him play with the rocks in the backyard. You're like, no.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm just saying it's literally everything. Like, it's everything. There's a water pad. All the kids are playing on the water pad. Nope. I'm like, okay.
Yes.
No, and I'm not saying that you are incorrect. It's just like, it's everything, and it's really hard. It's funny, isn't it? Because I always thought that I'd be more how he is with having a baby. And I don't know if you expected you were going to be the way that you are.
I didn't expect any less.
You didn't? You knew that you were going to be like freaked about everything?
100%. Well, I thought I was about to be somewhere in the ballpark that I am, but when you see and you meet such an intense love,
yeah,
it's just hard.
You're not worried about me getting ticks?
I'm worried about everybody getting ticks, but you've lived a full life already.
What the fuck? Full life? At 39?
Foolish.
Really?
No, babe, I'm worried
The
about
mother
you.
of your child?
I am worried about you.
That
I don't
went
want you
through
to get
hell to
Lyme
have a baby?
disease. No.
I don't want Remy. What in the world? I don't want Remy to get Lyme disease, but you don't even want him petting an animal now?
I let him do it. We take him to farms and shit. And I'm not saying I'm.
One farm, Kathy's Critters, one critter experience, which was one of the best experiences we've
That's
had.
where I thought we were all about to get ticks. And I didn't say anything about it. You see, I waited like weeks to voice my concern.
And how is that healthy? So you've just been holding on to it for weeks instead of just, this is why things get pent up in resentment. You have
The
to
thing
say
is
it on
that
the
if I
spot.
said on the spot, he was like, oh, he's worried about some stupid
Because
shit
you had
again.
15 things that day you were worried about. I mean, you go from like the sun and he's too hot and the sheep's too close. And I mean, it's just one thing after another. You're letting him pet the bearded dragon like it's no big deal. Those reptiles carry
This
diseases.
motherfucker don't have ticks.
Reptiles carry tons of diseases.
Oh, you pick some battles. And those are the ones
You
that-
don't pick battles. It's all a battle. Everything's a battle.
I'm just telling you right now, I didn't say anything. I didn't went to battle about it. We went, we had fun. I was worried about the tick situation, but I lived with that.
Remy will have like a small bruise on his head. And I said to him, like, part of me is like, do I just put his hair over it or do I like call attention to the small bruise? Because look, y'all know that I've had kids and I'm it's not that I love this by any means. And I feel like Fran thinks I am just like an absent mother or something. Cause like I will literally be with Remy in the shower and I try to get him out of the shower. And you know, when they sit and they like throw a little hissy fit and they like bonk their head on the floor and you're like, stop it. Like that hurts. Like don't go bonkies with your head because that can't feel good. But I'm also the mentality like, fuck around and find out, you know, like that's my parenting motto. Like with, you know, not aside from like handing him a knife, I'm not doing that obviously. Like I'm watching him, but like I want him to understand that like if you stop him from doing everything he wants to do, he's never going to learn. He is going to figure it out at some point and it might be really dangerous. But if he starts slow, you know, I don't want him to slam his hand in the door or anything like that. So I watch when he's doing that. But you know, it's a fuck around and find out a little bit. Like, you better believe he hasn't, you know, he hasn't slammed his head on the floor since he did that in the shower last week. I thought he was going to have this huge bump, by the way. I was like,
he
oh,
might have
fuck.
lost some motor skill, but that's why. Babe, I think
You
we
slept
learned.
with our child every night for months. You left him in a bed unattended to go to the bathroom and he fell off the bed. And I'm showering with him, letting him bunk his head on the ground because he's going to throw a hissy fit. Fuck around and find out, Remy. You throw your little fit, little buddy. You see how that feels. He hasn't done it again since then. You know why? Because he learned and he learned safely in a contained environment with like minimal damage outcome. And that's all we can hope for, isn't it? That like we monitor them, but we let them explore. We need to let them do things, you know?
Like ticks?
I mean, yeah, I got a tick when I went to sleepaway camp, lit a match to the butt. My mom got it out. Yeah, I didn't get Lyme disease, luckily. No, you're absolutely right. I think there's a lot in the world to be scared of, but it's so hard to keep up with all your fears.
Well, that's why I didn't voice it. I just left it in my gut
no, because you know
till
what he
we
was,
talked about it right now.
because he was mainly voicing, which is very true. It's very scary. I think those are the bigger things are the things I worry about. Like I worry about things that are even more, so much is out of our control. And that's the kind of stuff, you know, that sits on my head a lot is just how we can't totally feel 100% safe going anywhere. I think the day to day of just him. Yeah, I think we just got to, sometimes you just got to hope that you do a good enough job as a parent and hope that, you know, you catch things, right? But yeah, I mean, I don't want him to get a tick and get Lyme disease. I don't want that. But like, I'm not going to keep him in a bubble. If it were up to you, you'd keep him in a little padded room like a little psychopath. You
wouldn't do that.
would. Speaking of psychopaths, does BetterHelp treat psychopaths? This episode of the Fitish podcast is brought to you by BetterHelp. It's very clear that Fran and I need, and we do utilize therapy in our daily lives. Not all the time. I don't think therapy is something that you necessarily have to be in every single day. It can be a lot of work. But it's really nice to have a check-in if you're dealing with stuff in your relationship or maybe just your own personal anxieties about fatherhood as they don't pertain to
100%.
the relationship, you know? Some medicine, I don't know.
No, I started working out again.
That's very helpful. But, BetterHelp, I think the thing that I love about therapy, and a lot of people say, oh, I don't need to talk about my problems. Well, you do, because you're paying a licensed therapist to help you learn better coping mechanisms so things don't escalate, whether it's your own thoughts or just, I think Fran and I, we've always been very vocal about this. Like, our arguments tend to escalate a lot. Like, you have to kind of learn better fighting techniques because, of course, as a couple and as new parents, you're going to fight. And it's so nice to be able to trust an expert to help you learn kind of boundaries of arguments and how to bring up problems and how to discuss that with your partner and get some sort of resolution, or how not to bring things up that aren't as necessary. We've really enjoyed BetterHelp. It's so easy too, by the way. All you have to do is go to betterhelp.com. You can take a quick online, 5 minutes?
Download the app. It asks you for a couple questions, and it pairs you with the right therapist. Like whether you want someone a little more religious, less religious, someone a little more
Sure, that's really important to note too.
LGBT, a little
sure, that makes sense. But yeah, Fran, you've done it individually. We've done it as a couple. Find more balance with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/Fitish today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Fitish. Moral of all of that is that Fran and I don't always agree on parenting, and it can be really hard to manage each other's, I think, expectations and emotions as well. I always think back to that, because just because you're not, and I hope I do tell myself this, I'm trying really hard, more than I used to in the beginning. Because yes, in the beginning when you had all these stressors, and every time, I think it was hard for me. The most, when I was around Remy, we'd be in the same room and he'd be next to me. You'd be like, and I'm like, I'm right here. Like, it's okay. Oh, he's going to fall. Well, yeah, he might, but I'm like right here, And so that really, it almost, not your intention, but it would offend me, because I'm like, do you not trust me? Like, you don't do that when you're with him. But he's at my feet, or I'm holding him. And you think, and it was just a constant kind of thing that really bothered me, as the mother, because I'm like, yeah, we don't parent the same. But I mean, hopefully on like fundamental things, we'll be able to compromise or agree on. But like, yeah, we don't parent the same. And that was really hard because I felt like offended, like that you weren't trusting me, And I know now that it's just you and your own kind of like fears and insecurities. And some of them I find unreasonable, but that doesn't make them any less valid, Like it does, you are still scared, just like I'm scared of flying and you don't really get it, but it's there and it exists. So I try to acknowledge it, but I do think we need like some solutions of like, okay, well, like, maybe you can read some studies on like how risky is like going to a farm and petting animals as opposed to like splash pad. Fair, fine. I get that you're against them. My mom feels the same way. I'm kind of but it's true. There's a lot of bacteria in them and you feel strongly, and I agree. Like, I feel good. I mean, I feel good about not doing that, but I think it's only fair. Like, we have to compromise on some 100%. Stuff, because you really would have him locked in a room for the rest of his life.
I wouldn't. But I think it's more about, I'm very pragmatic on the way that cost benefit. Like, yes, the experience can be wildly exciting, but if he gets a ear infection or if he gets a stomach infection, then
so what?
It's going to be wildly.
That's your concern now? An ear infection or a stomach virus? Like, just wait. He's about to get a lot of those, I'm sure.
I know.
I mean, it's the same thing could be said about daycare and school. What's the risk reward? It's not always about that. I don't know. We just obviously feel differently about it, so we'll work our way through it. I do think it's like really hard to manage your feelings.
But I'm very happy is that you are how you are and I am how I am, and we're not both the same way. Because it would be a complete different experience for him and for us.
Yeah, he'd be like in a baby straitjacket. Like, he'd be like,
or he'll be just a free-range kid. I don't know.
I'm not free-range, though. But that's what I don't like how you see me, I don't think. Because I'm not free-range at all. I can't live my life being
free-range in a bad way. I'm just saying, like, if we both were to be a little looser, I don't know if that will be the best way to do, as the same as we both were as uptight as I am. And I acknowledge it. And I'm worked through it, and like I realized that he's going to have accidents and he's going to get sick from time to time.
I bought Remy. He loves bugs, as most boys. He likes bugs, dinosaurs, rocks, typical boy stuff. He's like, bug, bug. Like he'll point at bugs outside when we're on a walk and show, and we're like, yeah, bug, bug. I mean, he likes birds. He likes all the animals. And so, yeah, I bought him some, you buy them the plastic dinosaurs and he loves them. And then I bought him a big bag of bugs, like fake bugs, And I mean, I have considered what Fran says, but like he likes bugs. And there's bats and ladybugs and all sorts of insects, different kinds, not all dangerous. And Fran says, his first thing he says to me is like, are you at all worried that he's then going to pick up real dangerous bugs because he's playing with the fake plastic bugs? And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. He likes the bugs. I'm just teaching him about the bugs,
It's just, babe, I don't enjoy the way that my brain works. It's just.
You know what I did enjoy, changing gears though, if that's okay? I really enjoyed like what we did. I don't know if I say this enough, but I think so much just about, life in general now and being a parent and like the day-to-day and what it means way more than I used to, right? And maybe it's kind of the pre-children and then once you have children, and I don't know if I'm alone in this kind of sentiment, but going back to like planning the 4th of July, it's so expensive now to travel. I was just booking a work trip for Danny and I to go to Indianapolis on a Sunday, and like the cheapest flight, $700 a ticket for like economy.
Flight fare has become so expensive.
And it just registers so much that it's like, wow, okay, so traveling for experiences is so expensive. And sure, that's great if you can do it once a year with your family. But if not, and we can't do that all the time. And I've been working on, like we said, we got the grill. I really wanted to grill. It was really important to me. So we figured that out and got this great grill and got some food. And, I bought some like themed plates at Target, mainly because I didn't want to do dishes, ladies, you know what I mean? Like I just didn't want to do as many dishes, but I didn't even overdo it. We got popsicles and I kind of planned out the day in a way that it was like, okay, pre-nap and post-nap with activities. Cause I know he's not going to remember any of this, but you still want him to have like a full day and enjoy it. So we did some pool time. And I have to tell you, like, it was just such a nice weekend. My mom came over, stayed for a couple of days, and all we really did is like hang out, play music, play games with Remy, cook different, foods each day. You cooked and you're such a great cook. You're so good with the grill. And like, it was just so nice. He loved the grill food. I mean, who doesn't love grill food? It's so yummy. And so it was just so nice. And it made me think like we put so much effort sometimes into like plans and making a party. And I know as they get older, you have to do more and more, but it's just so nice. I think sometimes staying at home isn't the worst thing. It can actually be the best thing. We didn't have to like pack anything or spend money on a hotel for an
100%.
Experience that like a staycation that he wouldn't have even known the difference. And it would have been more of a grind for me, honestly, to pack stuff. And so it was just so nice because he really enjoyed it. And I think the point is, as long as you make a little effort, like you just got to tweak it a little bit and you make a little bit of effort to like make the theme and have some stuff lined up. I mean, this kid's happy with me spraying him with the hose in the face for 5 minutes. Like he loves it. He just like, it's so, I feel like I'm out of like an Adam Sandler movie. I'm just sitting there spraying him in the face with the hose and he just is having the time of his life, but it's just so nice. Like I think I've gained such an appreciation of like, you and I were like reading a book at one point, like just when he laid down for a nap, I'm like, I've just gained such an appreciation for like how lucky we are to have found and gotten a house and just kind of be there nesting and just spending time together. And it's so simplified. Like Danny was telling me, who was on the show a couple weeks ago that works for me here. And it's a friend of mine. She's like, you didn't post anything really from 4th of July. I'm like, I know. And I look back through my phone, was like,
because the fucking dress, did you tell her?
No. I was looking back through my phone and I was like, oh my God, not only that, I hardly took anything either. I really didn't. Like I got like a photo of y'all at the park. Like I was just really, and I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, I'm never on my phone. I mean, I definitely am looking through stuff at night, but like, I just was really kind of more in the moment and it's so nice. Like I'm like, I feel like a good mom. Like I feel like good because I'm more in the moment, was more present at home. And
that's what they call it, a present.
Yeah. But I don't know. I just like it. Anyway, I just think that you can create really nice experiences affordably at home by just being in the moment and putting a little more effort into, the menu and like kind of the activities you have at home. And I don't know, it was nice. It was nice. It was just a really nice long weekend, I think.
Yeah, he really enjoyed celebrating his freedom.
So, yeah. I'm like, I'm terrible celebrating Independence Day. I'm like, realize I'm like out there by the pool reading a book when he was napping on like how to transition and move your family to Spain. I'm like reading that on the 4th of July. I'm like, oh my gosh, this could not be like more anti-American. I'm like reading how to leave the country on the 4th of July.
Well, you're free to do it.
I know. I'm free to do it. It is nice. No, interesting. We did get a couple questions, by the way, Fran. Speaking of leaving the country, someone is really curious and wants your input on, would you buy property in Mexico or just rent property in Mexico?
So the same concept goes to buying or renting anywhere here or anywhere. I think it's better to buy.
Yeah.
To create equity, to have a portfolio, buy something that you can rent. You can put in Airbnb or you can have a semi-long-term rental.
If I hadn't wanted a house so badly, I still think about this. Man, if you have the money or even if you're just renting in America, I would 100% say buy it. I would hate to say buy a vacation home before you even buy a real home, but why not? Like if you're in a good situation here renting,
and
you could buy a place for an Airbnb in Mexico that you're actually making some good income on, right?
If you ask my advice, rent where you live, buy your investment property, because that's what is going to be the moneymaker.
Right.
And right now we have places in Tulum. I have listings in Tulum that are cap rating at 12%, something that is uncanny, something you don't see.
So what does that mean?
That you're getting a 12% return of your investment yearly.
Annually?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it just makes sense.
Yeah.
And now we have financing tools. So if you don't have the full amount, we can finance on a 75%, around the same rates as here. So it's pretty similar. And you're making money.
That's the thing, right? We're not making money off the houses we're living in day to day.
No, you're just sitting on it.
I mean, it's an investment, but yeah, no, it's a really good point.
So it's something to think about. If you're interested, hit me up. It's really easy to find.
Yeah, how cool. I'm so curious. I know. Yeah, if you are interested, Fran's licensed to do anything anywhere in Mexico. So if y'all are interested, he'll point you in the right direction. You don't have to have tons of money, right? I mean, could we just throw out a number? Like, what is it the same kind of percentage down? Like if you wanted a property, could you get in for 75%. A property?
So you need to put 25.
You have to put 25% down in Mexico.
25%, it's an average. There is room. Like my Acoba, right now I have a client that is going to do 20. So, but it's in a case by case. We have pre-sales where you have really comfortable monthly payments throughout the construction process.
Yeah.
And also, as I said, we have product that is already built that you can have 75-25% financing, and it is really easy. Like we have things from 200,
and then do you just get people there to manage it? Like if you knew it was going to be not a full-time residence,
we can set everything up. We can set the management company. We have all.
Gosh, you see how much money people make off Airbnb, and they changed that here recently, right? In Dallas.
People are about to get
screwed with their Airbnb.
Real fucked.
Yeah.
And this is going to be really good for people looking for houses because a lot of houses are going to hit the market and a lot of houses are going to hit the market with a rush to sell.
Yeah, because they can't Airbnb it anymore. Wow.
Yeah. So they're just going to have a huge expense there. And houses that they bought overpriced most likely because they bought
This could also do good for you, though, for people that still want to have the Airbnb model, but they can't do it here.
100%. So
they
this
need
is
to go
something
do it
that we can, that
do it in
we
Mexico.
have been helping people already do it.
And Mexico's such a great place because then you own it. You can go whenever you want, and then you can just rent it out the other times.
It's not a fucking timeshare. It's your place.
Right.
And you share it with whoever you want, and they pay you whatever you want.
Awesome.
So it's great.
Well, I am really excited about all the stuff you have going on in Mexico. That's great. Reach out to Fran with any of your questions, by the way. There's no real estate question too stupid, as I found buying my first home with Francisco.
Yeah.
Because I had a lot of questions.
100%.
A lot of anxieties, a lot of insecurities. And
that's
it's
what we do. That's what my team and I do. we walk people through this process and we make them feel comfortable, and we make them feel comfortable because they have a professional partner on their side. So yes, there's not stupid questions.
Awesome.
Mostly. I'm just kidding.
Unless you're me and asking him a question, right?
I always suggest to write the answers down to revert back to that question. You know, if you have that same question.
This is the thing. I could never be a realtor because of this. Like, you're dealing with people at such an emotional state, because I think your home is so personal. And especially when you're selling it and someone is picking it apart or doesn't want to offer you enough money, you get real defensive. And I mean, I haven't been on that side of it yet, but you know, when you're going to buy, I was just nervous. Like, I couldn't understand when we had executed an offer why they were still having an open house. Like, I thought that they could just sell it to the next highest bidder, and Fran's like, they can't do that. They've already accepted and executed, you know, started this whole thing. Like, they're just showing it to get other clients. And I'm like, well, I don't like it. And I kept asking Fran, are you sure? And he's like, yes. He was so annoyed with me. So then I would call my other friend who's a realtor and be like, are you sure? He's like, yes. I was just, you know, it's just like it's not that I didn't believe you. It's just that it is such a high pressure environment when you think about like all the documentation you have to get. I mean, they went through like 5 years of my financial history as an entrepreneur. Like, I was so
vulnerable process.
Yeah.
And you want to have someone that treats it that way.
Yeah.
That understand that you are in one of the most vulnerable stages and makes you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Like,
I couldn't do it, y'all. I'm sorry. I like you and I like people somewhat, but I could not do what you do.
And there's people that don't know anything about the process. We just had a deal in Miami going through, and the owner of this condo that we sold, we were representing the seller, is like, Francisco, I know nothing. I don't know about HOA. I don't know about anything that it's surrounded. So I need you to dig as deep as you need to dig. You tell me jump, and I'm only gonna ask how high.
Yeah.
So, and that's a good. It's good to have someone that can help you with that. When you're
Yeah, a lot
that
of us
vulnerable,
don't know
because
anything.
one little mistake, one little wrong turn, and you can lose a lot of money as a seller or as a buyer.
When does this Airbnb thing run out?
It's going to be very soon.
Really?
Yes.
That they can no longer do it? Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I get both sides of it, obviously, when people have party houses and stuff. But can they be long-term Airbnbs? Like long-term rentals, I guess you could do?
I believe that anything above a month.
Oh, okay. You just can't do these
So
weekends.
everything above 30 days is not a short-term rental.
Oh, okay. Wow. But that puts people in a tight bind for sure.
Yeah, nobody's not. And you're going to see a lot of people getting in a lot of trouble because they're going to keep doing it.
Wow. Oh, for sure. And just try to get away with it.
Yeah, but people are going to be very tight, especially the neighbors that have complained over and over and over and over.
Interesting. Okay, well, Fran, thank you for that update. Let's y'all reach out to Fran if you're interested in anything or have any real estate questions for him. I've been telling him to do more TikToks on real estate because I think those are so captivating to watch, you know, when you do get like house tours or just like information in general, but it's easier said than done.
100%.
Content is hard. It's hard to make content. I had this idea before we finished that my algorithm on TikTok's amazing, like what I'm on, because it's so niche to me. It's like parenting and it's like horror movie recommendations, you know, and then I get some like Cillian Murphy updates and like, well, Oppenheimer's coming out too, you know. I love Peaky Blinders. I love
It's
him.
just so crazy. Like, my algorithm is completely different.
Well, of course
It's
it is.
like 25% parenting,
yeah.
35% like science and weird shit,
Mm-hmm.
10% thongs and see-through shit. There is some of that.
10% thongs.
10%, like 10% of these, like,
You know why this is your algorithm, correct?
yeah, because you need a refresher from the science and the parenting, you know, like.
Oh.
And the other thing is just funny shit.
Yeah, like OnlyFans on TikTok. Anyway, mine's much more wholesome. I've gotten it a
Yeah.
little less sad than it used to be. But anyway, I see these accounts doing horror movie recommendations. And so ones that I start to find, you know, but it just baffles me, right? Because you will literally see someone, like there's this guy that has millions of followers that he does a split screen and it's just him watching trailers. Like, What am I gaining from this dude? You're just watching trailers that I could watch, but your face is on the screen and I'm getting his reaction. Not interested, not adding value. He has millions of followers. It's fucking crazy. But then there's accounts I follow, like there's one girl in particular. She does some pretty great horror movie recommendations, and she'll do some with spoilers and some without, and kind of like, summarize the movie just in case. And she has tons of followers, and her recommendations are great. But when I tell y'all, I have seen every single fucking horror movie that gets recommended, no matter what, for the most part. I mean, maybe one or two I've added to my list that I haven't seen. Why am I not doing a horror recommendation TikTok?
Because
I don't have time and I have multiple jobs. Yes, you're exactly right about that. It's very hard to manage. It's a lot of work. That's why more people don't do it. But
she sent me videos like, you need to do these voiceovers and this and that's. Like, let me just carve that time.
We all make time for the things we want to do. And you're absolutely right. Horror movie recommendations on a TikTok or YouTube channel is not at the top of my list because I have a business that I need to run and keep it going so we can survive. But I'm just saying, like, if I did some horror movie recommendations, would y'all watch? Not you. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to them.
I was about to say yes, for sure.
You would not. You don't watch horror movies with me.
I don't watch your horror gore shit that you like. I don't like seeing people drill their faces and
I don't know what I'm getting into sometimes, Fran. This is the beauty.
Like fucking Play-Doh.
This is the beauty of the horror movie. You are incorrect. That is not my bread and butter. I do not love those types of gory movies either. I think that's why the important thing to note is like we have to categorize, like French horror films, top. Some of the French horror films are absolutely the best. Then you get into things like The Conjuring, like movies that are really good.
Those.
Sure. Conjuring, The Nun, all of those, right?
Anything paranormal.
We see, but then you got to get into religious horror because doesn't do it for me. Like when you're not a super believer, religious horror, I mean, I love a good ghost story, but like the kind of Exorcist and
that, like also like monsters and weird shit, like it's not has to.
Then you got to do like home invasion. You have to categorize it like things that scare me, and that's what's so hard about horror recommendations because you'll recommend something and people are like, that's not scary, but no, yes, there are some really macabre movies out there, and you watch it and you're like, God, can you imagine some of these movies? For those of you listening that I know you've maybe seen things because I've recommended before on Instagram, like I guess we could say like a movie called Martyrs, or I watched a movie the other night that was recommended, another foreign film called Baskin, and it's like
Carol Baskin.
Oh, I mean, it's like super, super, like I don't even like recommending it because it's one of those that you're
or
like,
Baskin
yikes. And so but you watch a movie like that and you're like, God, who wrote this movie? And they were like, Dad, do you want to come see the movie that I just did? Maybe they don't have a dad and that's why they did a movie like this because it is fucked up. Yeah, I mean, really dark. And I know you don't like that sort of stuff. So that's why I watch these things on my own because you don't know what you're getting into sometimes, Fran. That's the thing with horror is like sometimes you're like, wow, this movie's really fucked up and really scary. And you watch it and you're like, whoa, or you're like, it's the boogeyman. It was PG-13. Really glad we went to the theater for a PG-13er.
That was challenging.
It was challenging to get through. It was. All right. Well, anyway. Okay. If you're interested in my horror movie recommendations, that'll be something I do on the side with all my free time. But until then, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Love you all.